So our next drill bit is going to be our 7/16. So we're going to go to drilling, and we're going to use drill, and we're going to select from our library the 7/16 drill. Okay, it looks pretty huge in comparison to the part. All right, and we're going to go to holes. So what are we drilling with this? We're drilling this hole, and we're drilling this hole. So we need to select both faces. So it's going to start at this end here. We're going to auto merge hole segments. So it takes these two segments and merges them into one routine for the machine instead of doing them as two separate entities. So now we're going to go to our heights. Okay, we're going to go from hole top. Okay, if you really want to make sure, you can go from model top. Okay, it should be the same place. And we're going to go to hole bottom. Which should be down here. Now we're going to have the drill point plunge through. So that gives us a full cut there. We're going to go to our cycle, and we're not going to use a drilling cycle like we do with the spot drill. We're going to use a deep drilling full retract, because this is going to be removing the bulk of the material. So I'm going to go with a peck depth that's half the diameter of the cutter. That's 200 thousandths. Let's just go with 0.2. Let's round that off. 0.2. And that's a good proportion for drills if you want to in soft materials. Okay, and we're not going to do any dwelling, but each time it's going to do a peck, it's going to retract back out. Let's hit accept. And now we've got our drill point coming down to the bulk of the material. Now we're going to go back and we're going to use a ball mill to clear out the rest of the material. And we have to call that, we're going to call it we're using a drill, and it's going to give us a warning. So we're going to go to drill, and we're going to go to our library, and we're going to select the 7/16 ball end mill. Okay, and then we're going to go to, what are we cutting? We're cutting the big hole and the next hole. It's all continuous. We're going to auto merge hole segments. Okay, so we're going to our heights. We're going from the feed is going to go from the top. That's fine. We could change this to model top, but let's just leave it where it is. It's semantics. But we're going from hole top to hole bottom, which takes the tip of the ball down to that level. And then we want to add on an extension. Okay, so for the ball mill, we need to go to the hole bottom, but we need to go further by the sphere or radius of the tip of the cutter. So the cutter is 7/16 in diameter, which makes the nose radius 7/32. And we're going to go that much farther into the material. And we need to make sure that's a negative number in this particular box. To our last tab, and we don't want to do just a drill and wrap it out. We're going to use a counter bore cycle. Even though we're not using a counter bore, it allows us to put a dwell at the end. So it's going to feed in real slow, and then at the very end, we're going to have it pause for 10 seconds. And it's saying this is a non-drill selected for drilling operation. That's fine. It's a ball end mill. And here we have our true profile of what we're going to see. Okay, so let's change the description of that to the ball mill. Ball end mill. Now, last operation. We're going to go in and we're going to use the boring bar to open up the inside of this. I had some trouble with the parameters in HSM, so hopefully this goes a little smoother than the last time I recorded it. Okay, so we're going to go to turning, and you're basically doing a profile turn. Okay, and we're going to go to our library, and we're going to select our helical boring bar. We put it in the library as library number 5. Now it's red right now because it's seeing that it's in an error condition with this type of tool for profiling. We need to change some parameters, and hopefully that red condition will go away. Okay, so we've got the first one is we need to check this box that says machine inside. So now it knows it's machining the inside position. Okay, so now we're going to go on to the next tab, and it's giving us an error condition most likely because our parameters are set up for outside. For containment, we're not going to have anything. We shouldn't have anything selected, and the box isn't going to be checked. So for containment on this tab, we're not going to do anything. Then we move on to our next tab. Okay, so we're going to go with -40 for retract. It's going to reference the inner radius. Or I'm sorry, it's going to reference the retract plane. From our inner radius, it's going to be another -40 thousandths. So our inner radius, again, was the smaller diameter, and the outer radius was the outer diameter. Hopefully that gives us enough room to retract. Okay, and then we're going to hit accept. Okay, so here's our boring bar coming in. It leads in at an angle, starts cutting, comes back out, comes out at an angle, retracts, and then comes all the way out of the part. All right, so that should be everything that's needed to finish this part. Let's look at the simulation and see what we did. So if we collapse these down and highlight them both, we should be able to do a stock simulation. So it's going to show the machining on one side. And there we go. So we have our machined part. Okay, remember you have two setups here. So you want to start with one of them and you want to post-process it. And then you need to submit an NC file for that. And then you have the second one. You need to do the same thing. And then you need setup sheets for both. Make sure that before you set up the setup sheet, you have the operation highlighted that you're using and it's in an orientation that would make sense to the operator. And that way that image shows up on the setup sheet. Okay, thanks for listening, and hopefully this one went well for you. Thanks a lot.